Hey everyone, Ryan here, and welcome to my review of the LEGO Star Wars 75364 New Republic E-Wing versus SHIN HATI'S STARFIGHTER. Straight from the Ahsoka show, I cannot believe they have finally made an E-Wing in LEGO Star Wars. Technically, Jack 14 had an E-Wing first from Yoda Chronicles, but this one is the first canon one. Anyways, it has 1,056 pieces for $110 in the US, so seemingly a fair price, and we'll dive a bit more into that during this review. You've got 5 minifigs in this set, which is a surprisingly high number, and on the back of the box, of course, it shows all your play features. Opening said box with my knife so that I don't have to use the thumb tab. You'll find bags numbered 1 through 10 and 2 separate instruction manuals. Hopping into the minifig, starting with Morgan Elsbeth. She is a really good looking figure. I really love the color scheme on her, but there is no printing on the legs, which is a bit of a downside. It's kind of the dress leg piece that we saw in Palpatine from the gunship. Nice piece, but no printing on this one. She does have a really good hairpiece though. I'm a big fan of the hairpiece on her in particular. Moving on, we have Baylan Skoll. Great looking figure here. He's got some nice green accents on the black torso, which just really popped to me. He does have a red lightsaber. Some people were hoping he would get an orange lightsaber because in some of the trailers, the lightsabers definitely have an orange tone to them, but I believe Dave Filoni did say they are red, even though they made them look a bit more orangish. So maybe that's still something LEGO will tackle in the future, but I'm kind of indifferent about the inclusion of red over orange here. SHIN HATI is next, and she is an interesting looking character. She looks like she has seen some things. Her pupils are very small and the black around them very large, just definitely makes it look like she's got that 1,000-yard stare. She does have what looks like a Padawan braid to me, which is kind of cool on her torso. Reminds me of like 2002 LEGO Anakin minifigures. We even have a lot of detail on the back of this figure, so overall very nice job with SHIN HATI. Next up, Captain Porter, going to be flying that E-Wing later on. Looks amazing, kind of a New Republic era pilot look, and it definitely hits. The helmet on this guy is fantastic with tons of detail, and they include a second face for him that doesn't have the pilot visor, and they include a hairpiece to go with that so that he can just be a normal guy walking around without the helmet. Gotta love that versatility. And finally, we have the New Republic IKEA Swedish Ukraine astromech droid. This is a crazy looking color scheme that I'm sure you could name yourself. It just really pops more than maybe any other LEGO Star Wars astromech droid ever, so I do really like it for that. Now, it's still got the problem where they can't print the dome straight, and they didn't give him back printing, so for 110 bucks, you kind of expect it, and it's not here. So if there's any downside to any of the minifigs, I would say it's just the quality of the prints on the New Republic astromech droid, but across the board, these are pretty good. And 5 figures in a $110 set for LEGO Star Wars is really, really good. For reference, in the $140 gunship, you only get 5. So we've obviously got 2 ships here, but we are going to take it easy and start with the E-Wing, the one I'm more excited for. The size and overall shaping of this E-Wing is amazing to me. I think one of the things it originally had in its OG design was a turret on top, but I didn't see that in the trailers for Ahsoka, and that is certainly not represented here, so I think what they have is the correct thing, and they just have some greebling instead. Looks pretty good there. In front of that, we have an area where we can place our Swedish astromech droid. He clips into the studs and isn't going anywhere even if you flip the model over, which is nice. On either side of that astromech droid, we have some exposed mechanical work from the E-Wing, and they use stickers to represent that, but I do think it looks very good. Now moving from that middle section to the wing below, this is where the build techniques get really cool. As you can see, it has an angle to it. On the inside here, you'll see a lot of the technique that they use to get that angle, and it's really impressive, to say the least, what they were able to do for this E-Wing to make it work. I really love the look of it on the bottom, just because it's so different than what we see on the top, but also, like, it just shows you how much work went into getting this thing to look as good as it does. I feel like, obviously, 10 or 20 years ago, it'd be a lot more basic, and this just shows you how LEGO has come very far in a lot of ways, so it's very impressive to see the underbelly of this thing underneath that angled wing. And the wing angles just a little bit more on the tip here. It has another technique piece that allows you to drop it down just a little bit more, but if you want, you can angle it straight, or you can drop it down all the way and make it look really weird, but as shown on the box, it's like that. There's also a sticker on the side, adding more detail than possible with normal LEGO bricks. We've got the main laser cannons, and then the engine intake on the side there. There's the thrust coming out of the back. And even though it's really hidden underneath the wing, they go and detail the midsection of that engine area with a lot of tiles, and those curved tiles on the edges. They look really nice there. We'll come back around to that landing gear in a moment. I just want to show you the other play features first. We have stud shooters on the side. you know it. And then we have a pretty beautifully shaped front of the E-Wing. I thought this blue tile on the top would be a 2x8 tile. I just didn't look very closely at the picture. It's just two 2x4 tiles though, so the 2x8 still doesn't exist. Not that they really needed it. That works fine. There's a sticker on the front there. And then we have the cockpit piece, which is the beautiful cockpit piece that they've been using, I think, since The Force Awakens came out in 2015. Got a great print on there, but I did have an unfortunate issue with this one. You can start to see it on the side of the cockpit there. It's a nice big scratch. And then there's two more on the front. I'm sure I could get a replacement from Lego, but it would be nice if they did something to try and protect these pieces. I mean, they are really high quality pieces otherwise. They just are prone to damage during shipping. Now, just like almost any other cockpit, you just lift it up because it's on clips. Really a smooth process there. And on the inside, you've got the control panel for Lego Star Wars that they've been using for like 10 years now, and honestly is kind of getting old. They used to do unique ones for different ships of different eras of Star Wars, and they'd have like actually like an Imperial Shuttle or AT-AT shown on there, and now it's just all kind of the same stuff every time. And it's got a really cool play function here. There's a lot of space here, and what they were able to do is if you lift off the seat for the pilot, there's actually storage space underneath. We can just take his blaster out of his hands, place it under the seat, and then place him on the seat, and then put the seat over the hidden compartment. Finally, this build has something you don't see often with Lego Star Wars these days, and that is retractable landing gear. And at that, it is not half landing gear. I mean, it's the full shebang for landing gear. It's got 3 points that hit the ground there, and the whole thing can be lifted up like so. The front piece like that, right on in. And then the back landing gear almost too easily fold into the center of the E-Wing. With the landing gear retracted, I think it looks very cool on the underbelly of the E-Wing still, and it is a very needed feature because they didn't include like a stand to have this thing flying around on, so you have the landing gear to place it onto your shelf when you want to display it. The E-Wing on its own could be a very, very good Lego Star Wars set. However, including SHIN HATI'S STARFIGHTER makes this a much more dynamic playset. We had something like this earlier this year with the TIE Interceptor and Fang Fighter, and seeing the 2-in-1 concept used and executed well again just makes me happy. Let's talk about SHIN HATI'S STARFIGHTER. Now, with this one in particular, I can see a few different elements from other Lego Star Wars sets throughout the years that just make me happy. Little ARC 170 vibes, little N1 Starfighter vibes, and slightly General Grievous' Starfighter as well. Comment below what you see in SHIN HATI'S Starfighter, but it feels like a mix of a lot of different things to me. The very side of the wing of the Starfighter have these really thin sections that kind of remind me of the top of the Umbaran Mobile Heavy Cannon. They don't do anything, they're just purely there for looks, and they aren't like the strongest attached things. They just have like 6 studs holding them in, but they do look nice. On top of the large wing panels, you've got a couple of stickers that add quite a bit of detail. They look very nice with the wear and tear on top of SHIN HATI'S Starfighter, and then just using some random other small yellow pieces and gray pieces, they add in a little bit more coloring on top of the Starfighter there. The bottom of this piece is completely gray, kind of reminds me of the T6 shuttle, but there is yellow on the sides and in the middle where like the engine intake is. There's some sort of landing gear looking stuff there, but really they have the inverted tiles on the bottom that will be smooth where the Starfighter's just supposed to hit the ground. The engine on the front is amazing looking. You can see the printed piece on the inside looks like the fan for the intake. Obviously just really pops out on the design. And then of course, stud shooters, everyone's favorite play feature. Wow, and I definitely lost those. No! Oops. I don't really do drop tests anymore, but now you know if you drop it off a 4-foot table, it will definitely break. Moving back to the SHIN HATI'S Starfighter, if you pick it up by the wing, it's strong enough to be held here, although if you get really rough with it, it will break off because it's not connected with like any crazy Technic connection. It's just a pretty normal connection, so it can break off if you're rough with it. Finally, moving throughout the rest of the middle section, you'll find a few play features as well as some just nice detail overall with the main blaster cannons on top using lightsabers on the front of them. Now, I don't know if I've ever seen this before in a Lego Star Wars set, but we can pull away and find a hidden compartment here, and you can maybe place SHIN HATI'S lightsaber in there. It's pretty spacious. However, at the bottom, you'll see a black stud, and if you pull that away, a little more difficult, but still doable, you'll find a second hidden compartment with a blaster inside. So I don't think I've ever seen a double hidden compartment on a Lego Star Wars set. Now, fortunately, the windscreen on this one did not sustain scratches as bad as my E-Wing did, but it does have a beautiful print all the same, very nice and detailed, and just like the other one, is easy to lift away. It does have a different control panel. However, instead of being printed, it is a sticker, which is a unfortunate downside of having a different control panel, I guess. piece. Now placing Shin Hati in is a breeze, just like that. She'll fit right in, and then you can close the windscreen piece and she is locked and loaded in there. There's a little more wear and tear represented with a sticker on the side, and then very nice shaping kind of coming to a point at the back of Shin Hati's Starfighter. And you'll notice another cockpit piece here, this one in dark red, and if you open it up, you'll find a simple clip inside, which is where you're actually supposed to put Shin Hati's lightsaber. So it does fit in there nicely and kind of leaves that big compartment at the front open to interpretation as to what you should really put in it. But it's pretty dope that they make use of the space at the back, even though they really didn't have to because they have so much space at the front. I think I've shown and told you everything about these two sets that can help you make your purchasing decision, and I just want to say for $110, I do think it is worth the money. It feels like on their own, LEGO would be charging $60 each for these builds, but in one set for $110, it feels fair to me. Plus the minifigs are of adequate quality, and they are new characters from the Ahsoka show for 2023, so there's going to be a big draw there. This one gets a 9 out of 10 from me. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and you can check out more 2023 LEGO Star Wars set reviews on the end screen now.